Hello everyone. With you today is Haneen AlJuhani from the University of Jeddah. I am from Saudi Arabia, and today I'll be presenting my research, which is titled Remix Internet Memes of Depression in the Arab and Western Cultures. So let's start with an example of an internet meme that you might relate to. For qualitative research, when you do that, you feel like drama and you feel like you're all over the place. However, when you're doing qualitative research, everything feels nice and organized and neat. As opposed to when you're doing a mixed method research, you feel like you are the master, and everyone who's doing qualitative and qualitative work, you might look at them like this. So, what are internet memes? Chefman defines internet memes as a group of digital items sharing common characteristics of content, form, and stance, which were created with awareness of each other, and they were circulated, imitated, and transformed via the internet by many users. So, internet memes, they are used and shared rapidly among many users of the internet. They can be shared as images, GIFs, videos, and more. And they are heavily rich in ideology, and usually they occur within a humorous context. Moving on to the literature review. Milner develops a taxonomy of internet memes shared in the digital network. He classifies internet memes into 13 types that include macros, which are single images that apply text over the image itself, and stack stills, which are several macros that are combined into one image. In my study, I will be using macros and stacked stills. And this is an example of each type. Again, these are macros and these are stacked stills. So mental health is one of the most presented themes in internet memes. It is found prevalent among users of the internet because people relate with them and relate with the themes presented. So users sharing internet memes of mental illness actually laugh and joke about them as they feel they are sharing their everyday life struggles. So this is why we see numerous users of the internet post internet memes that address the issue of mental health. And one of the major topics in mental health is depression. Now, Arab and Western cultures engage expressing emotions differently. In the Western culture, people encourage open emotional expression. However, Arabs restrain from expressing emotions. And due to the stigma related to depression, the help-seeking process among Arabs who are suffering from depression has been negatively influenced. However, it has been observed that both Arabs and Westerns use social media to avoid real-world interactions. They use social media to express their feelings regarding depression and social stigma. Now, for the gap of this research and why did I do it, it's like after reviewing the literature on internet memes, I've noticed that there are no published studies comparing Arab internet memes with Western internet memes. And also, I did not find a lot of studies conducted analyzing Arab internet memes. So for the research question, I focused on Arab and Western internet memes that relate to depression, and I wanted to know first, how do internet memes implement or promote ideologies related to depression? And second, what are the sociosemiotic differences between Arab and Western internet memes in their presentation of the cultural treatment of depression? For the methodology of this research, some criteria have been established to delimit the scope of the data, so all memes had to relate to one subject area, which is depression, and the meme types had to be either stack stills or macros based on Milner's taxonomy, And the time frame, the publication time frame had to be on January 2021, because mainly of two reasons. First, the lockdown of COVID-19 started on January for most countries, and this would cause more memes relating to depression would be posted. And also, I wanted to pick the most recent data I can find since I started my data collection in February 2021. And for the language of the memes, it has to be either Arabic or English. For the data collection process, first I tried to find data in social media platforms such as Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So I surveyed to find a suitable platform that contains sufficient results of Arab and Western Internet memes at the same time. And I wanted one platform because I wanted the data to be as coherent as possible. Some platforms have special characteristics of their users, such as age. Let's say, for example, TikTok has kids and teenagers more than adults, while Facebook has adults more than kids and teenagers. So this is why I try to go for one platform. And while trying to select the platform, I faced the challenge of finding one that provides somewhat parallel results of both Arab and Western Internet memes that relate to depression. Reddit, Instagram, and Twitter failed to provide me the data I needed. However, Facebook was able to provide sufficient accessible data for both Arab and Western Internet memes. So after selecting Facebook, I tried to extract the data manually by searching for Facebook communities that post Arab and Western Internet memes. And after finding these communities, I found numerous amounts of Western Internet memes that relate to depression. However, that was not the case for Arab Internet memes. I could not find much memes related to depression. So I manually reviewed around 6,000 internet memes, and only 0.5% have been found relevant to depression. So this attempt has failed to deliver the hoped results. Therefore, I needed another efficient systematic approach to find my data. I tried employing keyword search feature. This keyword search feature on Facebook assisted me to find instant results. So I used the keywords in English and Arabic that represent the noun of the word depression and the singular and plural form of the word meme. So after entering the keywords, I had a total of 248 internet memes. I eliminated all the unrelated and duplicated memes, and as a result, I ended up with 30 internet memes. 12 of them were Arab internet memes that relate to depression, and 18 of them were Western internet memes. For the data analysis, Arab and Western Internet memes are analyzed using sociosemiotic systemic functional multimodal discourse analysis, and this employs tools to systematically analyze both the textual discourse and the visual semiotic elements. For the textual discourse, I employed the third function of Holiday's model to analyze the data. This model includes three interrelated metafunctions: the ideational, interpersonal, and the textual. And the ideational includes the experiential metafunction, which is used to realize the experiential meanings through selections of the transitivity system. And this metafunction actually succeeds in offering answers on how depression is presented in both Arab and Western Internet memes. It encodes the experiences in Internet memes as processes carried out by specific participants under specific circumstances. Thus, it assists in determining whether Internet memes alters the individual's ideology. For the visual semiotic elements, they are analyzed based on Kress and Van Leeuwen's framework. In their framework, they developed three metafunctions that are established originally by Halliday. So they include, so they can include analyzing the visual elements. Their model consists of three interrelated metafunctions as well. The representational, interactional, and compositional. And the compositional metafunction is used to realize the compositional meanings in the visual field. It includes systems of the information value, salience, and framing. These systems assist in detecting the sociosemiotic features in internet memes and detects the level of significance of the information presented in the data. Therefore, we can get a better comprehension of the intended ideological concepts delivered in internet memes. Here is an example of an Arab internet meme that is analyzed using the compositional value. We have information value, we have salience, and we have framing. In information value, we have to classify them based on their types. Here we have the picture, we have given, and we have new, and we have the size and perspective and contrast are all factors of salience. And the most prominent one was size. We can see that this is bigger, which is the new. And we have framing devices, and the connected one is the vector. We can see a movement here from the metal bar. It would move to this one. And here we have my mother's prayers that would actually kill or make depression go away and life problems and the last year of high school. So the creator of this meme or the designer classifies depression as a feeling that the viewer is already used to because it is given. However, my mother's prayers is presented as not yet known or agreed upon. So we can see that in the Arab design, here, the designer is giving prominence to my mother's prayers, which indicates family ties or religion. So here we can see how this meme is being analyzed in brief, but every other meme of depression would signify something different and would shed light on a concept using either given and new or ideal and real or center and margin. Moving on to another example, which we will be analyzing using the experiential metafunction. So here first we have to classify the clauses. And let me read you the meme. It says, when my therapist says we need to dive deeper into my mind, the person would reply, you might not like what you find. So here we have processes and we have the types. We have verbal and we have mental and material. In the verbal type, we have the word therapist as the sayer, which indicates acceptance toward therapist and mental health. So mentioning the concept of therapy or psychotherapy, that it implements normalizing mental therapy, and especially when using the situational word when to indicate the reoccurrence of the situation. So these are, I gave you two examples to clarify how I analyzed all of the memes using both metafunctions. As for the results of the study, experientially speaking, the highest process in both Arab and Western internet memes has been noticed to be the material process. This indicates that depression is perceived as an outer world experience rather than an inner world experience in both cultures, due to the external factors they relate depression with actually. And this suggests that the concept of depression is treated as a feeling of sadness rather than a mental illness. And in the relational process, in both Arab and Western remixed internet memes, we can see that the subtype is attributive
rather than identifying. And the attributive subtype signifies that depression is an attribute rather than an identity, thus suggesting that depression is not seen as a chronic mental illness that users of the internet identify with when sharing internet memes of depression. And a similar result also can be found in the emotive subtype in the mental process. The dominance of the emotive subtype in Arab internet memes indicates that the mental process relates the notion of depression with the emotion of sadness rather than the mental illness. However, the cognitive subtype in Western remix internet memes has the highest occurrences, which signifies that depression is being addressed consciously by the users that share these internet memes. And these results show that internet memes designers perceive that the concept of depression as the ethnographers who often see depression as a form of grief and relate it to sadness and hopelessness rather than a mental illness.
When it comes to the sociosemiotic features, we can see that in the information value, Arab and Western internet memes that relate to depression employ the information value of center and margin as the most prominent composition. This comes in line with the recently published third edition of Chris and Van Leeuwen's work in 2021. Suggesting that today's visual compositions have large quantities as center and margin compositions. Whereas salience for both Arab and Western internet memes, we have ideal as text, while real represents either pictures alone or pictures along with text. Chris and Van Leeuwen elaborate that when texts are placed as ideal and pictures as real, then texts play the ideal role, whereas pictures play a less important role. Consequently, ideal in both Arab and Western internet memes present the ideological notions or beliefs that internet meme creators attempt to implement. As for framing, Arab and Western internet memes are mainly similar in the system of framing. They have a significant presence of framing devices, which might be due to the existence of several pieces of information in one picture.
So, to conclude,
In this study, I tried to answer how internet memes implement or promote ideologies, and I also tried to detect the socio-semiotic differences between Arab and Western internet memes. So experientially speaking, the material process is the most used process in both cultures. There we can see depression, it tends to be perceived as an outer world experience rather than an inner world experience, and therefore depression is treated as a feeling rather than a mental illness. And from a sociosemiotic point of view, we can see that both internet memes of Arab and Western share similarities in the compositional metafunction due to the nature of these internet memes designs. And this indicates that the design of internet memes tends to be universal. As for the recommendations of the study, I highly recommend that artificial intelligence is used in social media platforms to facilitate the keyword search for future studies, as my biggest challenge in this study was doing my data collection. So AI or artificial intelligence can be employed to detect the words found in internet memes and add themes related to the main concept of the internet meme. Therefore, quick, direct results can be found instead of accounting on manual research. It was a pleasure presenting this to you. Thank you so much for your time in watching this presentation. Please feel free if you have any questions or if you need any further clarifications to reach me on either of these emails. Thank you very much.